So yesterday we identified 3 new positive cases. Those cases were first identified in the early afternoon. Over the last 24 hours, we have retested those individual cases and we have established that they are indeed positives. There is 1 positive case, a female in her 40s in the Mitcham area, another female in her 40s in the Mentone area, and a family member of that individual who is in the Hallam area, a 70-year-old female. I'd like to start by saying all those 3 individuals did exactly the right thing. They became symptomatic, they came forward, they got tested. And it's only because they got tested that we're now able to identify this particular cluster and to start the important work of identifying anybody else who may be at risk in the Victorian community from the infection that, through no fault of their own, they have contracted. We have established over the last few hours, we've currently contacted 52 close contacts of those 3 individuals. Those close contacts are across a wide area of Melbourne, and there are also those close contacts include people in Leongatha and in Barwon Heads. This shows, particularly this holiday time, how widely we all travel and how widely we all meet. And we've seen, of course, and quite naturally, a number of significant private gatherings involving these individuals over the last week, as many of us, of course, have enjoyed. We've identified a number of exposure sites on the basis of these 3 current positive contacts. Those exposure sites include, in particular, the Smile Buffalo Thai Café in Black Rock and the Holy Family Parish Church, a Catholic church in Doveton. Now, both those particular locations have been incredibly cooperative overnight, and of course, we recognise the huge impact this will have on those organisations and, of course, their congregations and other patrons of those facilities. Both those facilities have good contact tracing systems in place, good QR systems in place. We'll be working with them over the coming hours to extract that information and to contact the parishioners, congregation members of the church, and, of course, anybody who's dined at that particular cafe during the period of time. The exposure period for those locations are for the cafe in Black Rock on the 21st of December in the evening, and for the church, the Holy Family Parish Church in Doveton, the 26th of December. So those are the exposure sites. We will be contacting people who are registered and having been at those locations in those weird time windows. We will ask anybody who has been at those 2 locations in those time windows, you must get tested, you must isolate for 14 days. We will be in touch with you to do that. If you think you've been exposed, if you know you've been there, please contact us at DHS on 1800 675 398 and we'll deal with you immediately. We expect the number of close contacts to continue to rise during the course of the next few days as we continue the contact tracing work. I can also confirm that we have an additional 3 cases so far today who are amongst that close contact group. And again, those people are all getting good support and good care. We will look after them. We'll continue to work with them to identify any contacts that they have and their secondary contacts. Of course, as we all recall from now over a couple of months ago, our approach to these cases is not only to deal with close contacts, but also contacts of contacts. We will, over the course of the coming hours, be also putting out a further ring and asking anybody who knows those close contacts to also isolate, to get tested, and to quarantine for 14 days. We will throw everything at this to make sure we get this outbreak under control as quickly as possible. As the Minister said, we have identified a potential link to a returning traveller from New South Wales. I'd like to thank the team at New South Wales Health. We've been in extensive communication with them overnight and will continue to do so to establish any genomic links between the individuals we've identified, the cases we're seeing here, and any of the New South Wales outbreaks. We also continue to, of course, to explore any other potential linkages. I can confirm at this stage there is no identified connection to our hotel quarantine programme. There is no identified connection to any other vulnerable settings at this point in time. But of course, as we continue the work of contact tracing, I'm sure we will continue to update you on those developments. Can I also just add, we of course have hundreds of people now working on this who started work on this at about midday yesterday. Not only people, of course, within the wider COVID response in DHHS, but also the teams at Monash Health, Austin Health, Barwon Health and Latrobe Regional Health. We have an extensive set of PHUs that are now pushing hard on following up the contact tracing and ensuring we support the individuals who are caught up in this. I'd also like to recognise that for certainly the 52 close contacts, the now 6 positive cases and the growing number of people we'll identify over the coming hours, this will be a difficult time for them. It is a difficult issue to have to confront, and of course there'll be a large number of people facing into a significant period of isolation, quarantining, as we work through the necessary linkages, as we work through the testing, and we work out how far this virus has spread in the last 10 days. We are, of course, setting up now additional testing sites, particularly in the eastern suburbs. I can confirm at this point we will have the Don Tatsnell Leisure Centre drive-through site open in Parkdale. That will open at 11 o'clock shortly. We also will have an additional site at Wantirna at the Trash and Treasure Market. That will open at lunchtime today. And later on today, we'll open up the Eastern Health Maroondah Club in Ringwood. There'll be an additional testing station there. We're also putting a lot of additional testing resources into our existing testing stations. I would encourage anybody who has connections into the exposure sites, I'll read them out again in a moment. If you've been to those exposure sites on those dates, you must go and get tested today. You must go home and isolate and then wait for further instructions. Again, anybody who's got any concern about their health in any part of Melbourne, in any part of Victoria, this is a really important prompt that this virus spreads wildly, it spreads quickly. If you have any symptoms, you must go and get tested today and isolate until you get your result. If you're unclear where your nearest testing centre is, please contact us, go to our website. There's plenty of information out there. We really need to do what we did so well over the last few months, which is to work together as a community and get this thing under control quickly. Finally, let me just confirm that the current exposure sites, but these will be updated continually during the course of the day. They will continue to evolve. As I've said, the two areas of real concern are those patrons at the Smile Buffalo Thai Café in Black Rock on the 21st of December, the parishioners and congregation of the Holy Family Parish Church in Doveton, particularly on the 26th of December, the Fountain Gate Shopping Centre on the 26th of December, the Glen, and in Glen Waverley, the Century City Walk and Mocha Joe's on the 28th of December, and finally the Katialo restaurant in Oakleigh, again on the 28th of December. Full details on our website, full time slots on our website, and as I say, these will be updated continually over the coming days.